you're interested in playing Revenant and playing solo in Elden Ring Nightreign, there's a good chance you've looked up Nightreign Solo Revenant, or Revenant Solo Guide, or Gnoster Revenant Solo on YouTube, and then you see a billion videos all made by zero IQ slobbering mutts who are incapable of not including the solo tag in their top 10 best relics for multiplayer in Elden Ring Nightreign video. Unbelievable. Anyways, this video is meant to serve as an actual guide for people who are interested in playing Revenant Solo and Nightreign and not observing one of those players who are genuine masochists at this game and load up into a fight versus Darkdrift Knight, and they fight the boss for 10 minutes, and the 10 minutes of the fight is rolling into every attack, dealing 0 damage, and running around like a headless chicken. So, I'm just going to get into it. I'm just going to assume you've played the character before, so I'm not going to explain the abilities. If you're interested in knowing what the abilities do, boot up the game and play it. I will however mention that your ult makes you and all of your summons unable to die for a short time, which I think includes the summons you get from reviving enemies, so keep that in mind. Revenant has low health scaling and a high faith scaling, so you want incantations and to play from afar. However, you also have decent int and arcane scaling, so staffs and bleed weapons aren't that bad. They're a good last resort. But here's the thing, the only thing you actually want is Discus of Light. If you find this incantation, the run is a pretty damn good chance of winning. Fun fact, if you find a regular finger seal and level that up to purple, that's better than the purple seals that naturally have Discus of Light, so keep that in mind. Discus of Light is good against every single boss in this game. It can be difficult to find, and sometimes you have to get creative with the incantations and spells that you choose to use. If your final day 3 boss has a weakness, you can consider finding a seal with that weakness, but don't fall for the bait. You don't need poison for Gaping Jaw, so don't waste all your time looking for it. Getting fire is worth it against Caligo or Gnoster. Lightning is Omega worth against Augur, and it's decent against Darkdrift Knight, but I found the Lightning Spear just constantly missed the guy, and Discus of Light had like an 80-90% hit rate, so keep that in mind. I don't know how Madness fares against the Equillibrous Beast, and Poison is Omega useless against Gaping Jaw. It only does a little baby stagger, and then he spits it out. So just use Discus of Light, and if you found Holy, aka Discus of Light, for Tricephalos, or the final boss, you're probably pretty good. Melee weapons are risky, but sometimes you'll need it, so Coated Sword and Cypher Pot are good, but the actual holy grail of melee weapons is the Holy Scythe, which has Mikla's Ring of Light weapon art, which is actually just as good as Discus of Light sometimes. Don't fall for the bait that some slop tubers spew and tell you to get an affinity for the starting weapon and upgrade it. If you're in a position that you need to be doing that, you're in a really bad position. You should just be spamming incantations and starlight shards for more incantations, or Mikla's Ring of Light. What you want to do is find your good seal on the first day, and then every moment after that is spent getting souls and flask. That is the only thing that matters. There are so many stupid moves in this game that one-shot the Revenant, and so eking out that little bit of health is super important. Additionally, your summons just get one-shot if you're under-leveled, so you really want to have a good level. Level is exponentially better on Revenant than I think on other of the Nightfarers, so keep that in mind. So yeah, the basic game plan is good seal into levels. And you don't need an incantation. You can do Mikla's Ring of Light. The bubble weapon, that weapon is pretty good for clearing enemies, so keep that in mind as well. There are a lot of enemies that Revenant has trouble killing, so don't waste all your time just fighting a Crucible Knight. Like, it's not always worth. Unless if it's day 2, in which case, get whatever you can to level up. Other things that are really important to look out for are the passive effects from weapons or from drops from bosses. Damage negation during spells is really good. Spell/skill cost down, those ones are really good. Attack power up for your affinity, or if you're two-handing or holding 2 weapons, those are really good. Damage negation at full HP is great because you just get one shot by everything, so you're probably gonna be at full HP all the time. The other good ones are the ones that you find from the bosses, the ones that give you max FP or max health or max stamina or stamina regen. The FP consumption discount is great. Also, the when walking do X, those are really good. And the ones that boost how much you get from a flask, those are also really good. On the map, look for the blue village. The merchants will sell a Wending Grace there in addition to the regular merchants. So meaning that on day 3, you might have 3 revives, possibly more if you find some naturally. I like to visit the wizard towers for mana skills. Look up a video and memorize all of the ways to open the wizard tower. I always keep at least 2 Starlight Shards. That way on the final day I can have 4 Starlight Shards and revives, although I only end up using 2 of the Starlight Shards usually. Everjails are a great source of levels because they're really fast to kill and they're just pretty easy. You have to have a Stone Sword key though, so go to the castles. A question a lot of people ask whether or not it's worth it to kill the little chuddy enemies, and it is worth it, but only after you get your good weapon. If you don't have a good weapon, just focus on that. Go to the churches and get the seals. But if you do have a good weapon, just get leveled. It's all that matters. Once you've got your good seal and you just kill everything, you'll pretty consistently reach level 14 or 15. Drop everything you're doing and go find the Locust. If he shows up, you're basically guaranteed to reach level 15 if you get his power. Know which field bosses are actually killable and which ones are a mega waste of time. I hate the Tree Sentinel. I never do him. He just takes forever and he's super tanky. I Bell-bearing Hunter is actually killable if you have Discus of Light. Don't fall for the bait and go to this specific Everjail. Just one on screen. There's a field boss that spawns near there and he'll just one-shot you and join the fight, and it's horrid. So just keep that in mind. In terms of relics, the ones you get from the Remembrance are actually pretty good. I don't actually use them though, and I'll get into that. The Augur relic for more health is pretty good, but honestly, just take what you can. Just take your best relics and use those. There are 2 relics, however, that make Revenant go from RNG dependent to very, very consistent. This one, which you get from the shop after you beat the final boss, I think. It's very good, and it can jumpstart your run really quickly. And any relic that has the start with the Wraith Calling Bell, even if it's one of the tiny ones. The Wraith Calling Bell is genuinely better than 90% of the spells in this game, and that's not an exaggeration in the slightest. I would not be surprised if they nerf this. It's so slow that because of it, you can stack like 5 or 6 of them out at a time, and then before they aggro the boss, and he'll just get pummeled by 6 of these little wraiths. I would just spend all my mana using the Wraith Bell against a boss, and then I would run to a Grace, go back to the boss, and use all my mana again. And I would just do that over and over, and I would be like level 11 on the first day. You don't need this. You can find it naturally. And you don't even need the Wraith Calling Bell in general. Just make sure you find good seals. And that's it. That's all you need to beat Revenant Solo. If you have any questions, I'll answer them in the comments. If you complain about bosses in the comments, you're outing yourself as villager low. So just, note that, put a pin in it. I think overall Revenant is on the weaker side of the Night Fares, but if you can get Discus of Light, she's very strong. Gathering that incantation, not very consistent though. So also I hate Sebastian so goddamn much. He always misses us the laser beam. Hate that guy.